That's They Say by Doug, who's hopefully listening in as we speak. And more, Doug, of your song later, They Say. Kate Pinnock here, a very warm welcome to our live broadcast of Jailbreak tonight. 30 minutes dedicated to you on the inside and keeping you connected with your families and the outside world. Hopefully half an hour of informative and supportive radio. It's great to have your company tonight. Now, just when you thought that our ritual quiz was getting just a little bit too easy, I thought we'd start with something really hard to test you. Who do you think is our mystery in-person and live and kicking guest here tonight? The clues. The person's spent some time inside, and yes, I'm narrowing it down for you. The voice is familiar, a sort of Cockney style, hello, hello, hello. The stature is significant in the name, and the beat is underground. His name, who other than Big Dave, rapper, record producer, community advocate, founder, owner of KP Records, and luckily for Jailbreak, our guest producer, Dave, at last, your company, in person and live. Welcome.
Cheers, Kate. Cheers for having me in the studio here tonight, mate. It's good to be here. Big shout-outs to the boys listening in tonight from the comfort of a cell.
Dave, an exciting occasion to have you in the studio, not only for Jailbreak, but also it's your first video release of your latest single, Days Gone By. Congratulations.
Thank
exciting
you.
Stuff. And tell us, it's part of a new album soon to be released, I believe, mid-next year. Tell us what it's about. Tell us more.
It's the first single from an album I've got coming out called Ready for Whatever, which is the first full-length solo album that I've ever put out. It's also the first full-length solo album on KP REKORDZ. The album's called Ready for Whatever, and I chose that title because I've faced a whole gang of drama in my life, and I've made it through. So I feel like anything else this world can front me. I can deal with. I can take the knocks and keep moving. So basically, I'm ready for whatever. So I've tried to give it that sort of vibe with the album, and I've got mix of songs about stuff I've been through, and songs that sort of look to the future, and songs that celebrate the life of a free man. Life of big possibilities and big opportunities.
It's interesting, for our listeners. Listeners might not know that we've actually never met in person before.
No.
And we used to do a lot of emailing between each other. So, and the one thing I noticed that on the website, if anyone goes to, your website, Big Dave, which is
cockyprick.com. That's KOKYPRIK.com.
You sort of look fairly scary, and the surprising thing is just how not scary you are.
Actually, I get that a lot. A journalist will call me up and for an interview or something, and they sort of sound a little bit wary of me. The big guy coming out of prison, big rapper, blah blah blah, and then they meet me, and I'm just sort of this sort of nice down to earth guy, or so I like to think.
Yeah,
but I'm not as intimidating as the image believes. I've lived through some pretty hectic situations, but I'm not hectic by nature.
Well, I'm just amazed. So tell us, this particular, going back to your latest video release, you actually filmed it on location in Canberra, which I believe is one of your old haunts where you grew up.
Yeah.
I believe some of the local residents of Mawson, Farrer and Torrens were a little bit sort of bewildered one day to find you doing a little bit of filming and wondering what on earth you were doing.
Yeah, I think they were kind of wondering, what this crazy dude was doing, running around with a straitjacket on, all these ripped shorts and a film crew chasing him. But hopefully they'll see it on TV soon and get the idea.
Dave, listeners, some of our listeners may not know you as well as others. Tell us a little bit about yourself. You've faced some testing times in your younger years. You've spent time inside. You grew up, as you say, in a violent home. Drugs and alcohol were around. Tell us a little bit about what it was like.
I guess my early childhood was kind of what they call a paradigm, I think they call it. I had on one hand, I had this really loving mother. She was really caring, showed me the good things in life. And on the other hand, I had sort of, a drug-taking alcoholic father that, liked to lay his hands on his family. And, that's such is life, and I think growing up that way sort of it toughened me up for what the real world was like, and further down the track, like you said, I served some time. I ended up serving 2.5 years of a 5-year sentence for armed robbery and assault. And I guess the way I look at it is life has its ups and downs, but, you know, I'm sort of heading on an up curve now, so it's all good.
Great. And your experiences in prison, you found that rhyming was a form of expression, and you used some of your experiences of prison to sort of express, you know, what it was like in prison, express your feelings at the time. You know, it was a way of killing time for you as well, and that's really how you sort of ended up pursuing this sort of music record.
That's exactly right. Yeah, I mean, yeah, like you said, you know, I had a lot of time on my hands and nothing to do, and you know, I'd been getting into hip hop for years before I went to prison, and I even wrote the occasional verse here and there. But like sitting inside, you know, nothing to do, it sort of came to me that I might as well start writing my own songs, you know, and I kept it to myself for a long time, you know, for probably over half my sentence, until I met a couple of like-minded MCs inside that gave me a lot of confidence with my music and confidence in my ability, and I sort of took it from there. You know, we used to do some freestyles and do some ciphers in there, and as we were sort of starting to get to the end of our sentence, I thought, you know, I'm just going to really give this my all and try and take this to another level. Better than dealing dope.
So was it sort of like a culture that was going on in jail at the time? Yeah,
well, I remember as I went into prison, I mean, there's a lot of support for hip-hop on the outside, but mainly for American hip-hop and international hip-hop. There wasn't a great Australian hip-hop scene, but when I went inside, I realised that the boys inside, who also had a lot of spare time on their hands, were sort of taking it to another level, and while I was in there, the culture developed on the outside. You had the Hilltop Hoods sort of made their name for themselves, and, you know, a few other artists started to come up, so really concreted it in for me that, you know, it was a possibility when I got out.
Listeners, if you've just joined us, you're listening to Jailbreak, and it's Kate Pinnock with a guest producer, Big Dave, man of many talents, rapper, record producer, and founder of KP Records. Let's just have a listen to that track, Days Gone By. Before we do, what goes through your mind when you hear this track?
Well, the track's based on my life pretty much briefly from when I was about 15, 16 to now, and so I guess when I look back, when I hear the track, it makes me sort of look back at those experiences and sort of remember those experiences, and also remember all the hard work we put into recording the track and putting the video together.
Okay, well, let's have a listen. This is Days Gone By.
REKORDZ. Let me some of your time. Let me kick it a minute. Let me drop you a rhyme. Let me drop you a line. While I talk, take a walk in these shoes of mine. I was out of my mind. Money spent and my rent fell further behind. Let the pressure combine. Broke the rules, kicked out of school, turned to petty crime. Got a job just in time, trying to climb over the poverty line. I was forced to resign. A date with fate and she had a different design. When the planets align.
And before that promo, Days Gone by Big Dave, his latest single and debut video YouTube clip. And if you've got access to the net, you can watch that video clip on www.cockyprick.com. Tonight it's Jailbreak, and we're broadcasting to you live tonight in the studio, and very much alive and in person is one of Australia's best known underground MCs and Jailbreak's guest producer, Big Dave. That track, Dave, also co-starred Southern Highlands performer Kitty B.